Well, one of those names that's on a lot of lists is Virginia Republican Governor Bob McDonnell. He's been mentioned quite a bit of late. He joins me now. He's also chairman of the Republican Governors Association. Governor McDonnell, good morning.
Hey, Chuck. Thanks for having me on.
All right, I want to start with a report this morning in the Washington Post about some TV ads that your PAC, I believe it's called Opportunity Virginia, will be unveiling about you. Can you tell me a little bit more about this TV ad campaign?
Well, you know you can't believe everything you read in the papers, Chuck.
Okay.
I can only tell you that, well, we don't have any plans at this point, but I tell you, we're always looking for ways to get out the positive message about what we're doing in Virginia. We got the lowest unemployment rate in 3 years, lowest in the Southeast, $1 billion in surpluses, have had major reforms this session. And unfortunately, our Democratic Party friends continue to stonewall us and kill budgets and talk down about our state. So I'm always looking for ways to get a positive message out about what we're doing in Virginia. So I don't have anything else to say at this point. There's nothing else planned, but we're always wanting to tell our positive Virginia story around the country and around the world to create jobs.
So you are contemplating buying TV ad time, but you haven't made a final decision. What's the best way to characterize this?
Well, there's no way to characterize it other than I don't know where those reports have come from. Right now, I've got the General Assembly back. We got a budget fight where Senate Democrats have killed the budget 3 times over committee assignments and train projects and so forth. So I am really focused on what we're doing here in Virginia, and I'm trying to get the message out. We've done radio ads before recently to talk about what's at stake here if we don't have a budget. So those are the kinds of things that we're focused on, Chuck, but there's nothing else that I can talk about at this point that we're doing.
You know, for much of your term as governor, you've had very high approval ratings, and the first time we saw your approval ratings take a hit, if you will, and go down a few points was after this debate about the ultrasound bill that was being debated in the House of Delegates. Now, some of them, the one most controversial portion of that bill that would mandate that any woman seeking an abortion have to get a transvaginal ultrasound ultimately didn't make it to your desk. But you did sign a bill that said it should be that some form of an ultrasound should be done before, has to be done before a woman in Virginia can get an abortion. Why?
Well, Chuck, Virginia joins 23 states that have some form of ultrasound laws as part of the informed consent statute to make sure that women have all the medical and clinical and legal information that's available prior to making what everybody agrees is a life-changing decision. Look, Chuck, that was one bill out of the 860 that reached our desk. My focus this session was on jobs and economic development and higher education and K-12 and transportation and veterans. We got enormous things done this session, much of it on a bipartisan basis with historic investments in our pension system and higher education. So that's the story that is Virginia. Best unemployment rate in the Southeast, 5.7% unemployment rate. I mean, we're doing some very positive things. So if the Democrats want to talk about social issues, that's up to them. But our focus is on creating the free enterprise system that Virginians need and deserve, and that is our focus here in Virginia.
Well, but Governor, with all due respect, it was Republicans who introduced this legislation, not Democrats. And I guess my question is,
it passed with Chuck.
Is this? Go ahead.
No, Chuck, the bill passed with bipartisan support. There were Democrats in both houses that supported it. There is a broad agreement in Virginia that everything we can do from a policy standpoint to help reduce the number of abortions is good. We've had differences on these before, but the point is the focus of our General Assembly session for Republicans was on jobs, economic development, investments in higher ed, transportation, veterans, energy. These are the things that Virginians care about, and that was what I focused on, not on some social issues, but that's what the Democrats seem to be focusing most of their time on.
Do you feel,
in the meantime, they're acting like Washington, and they can't pass a budget here in Virginia.
Do you feel like some Republicans, some members of your party, are talking too much about social issues this campaign season?
The Democrats are the ones that are pretty much talking about it because they can't run on their record. Look at President Obama, 8% unemployment rate for 38 consecutive months, the worst national debt in American history, $16 trillion, growing to 25 under the budget that he introduced. Chuck, of course, the Democrats are going to try and change the subject and talk about these other issues, but that's not what the country needs. We need policies on jobs, economic development, taxes, spending, energy. That's the heart and soul of this campaign, and of course, that's why I think you see a strategy for people to talk about these other issues. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about the American dream and how to restore it in America.
I understand that, but I know you're saying Democrats are bringing this up. It was a Republican proposal. So, I mean, that's why I'm asking. Do you believe that you basically should have shelved it? It should not have been done this session?
No, what I'm saying is standing up for the right to life and embracing a culture of life is something I believe in. It's something most Virginians believe in. And amending informed consent bills to provide more information to people was a policy that was supported by people in both parties. So the Democrats are the ones that are trying to make that an issue. What I'm saying is that 99% of the bills that passed this year that got to my desk that I advocated were on the heart and soul of what Americans and Virginians want to see. Stronger job opportunities, more access to the American dream, more college, better energy policies. That's what we're doing. That's what Governor Romney's talking about. But the Democrats continue to focus on these issues, these false dichotomies, separating men from women, successful and rich people from the middle class. It's the game of division, Chuck. We're not going to play that game because we're focusing on what Virginians and what Americans care about.
If the Romney campaign asks for background information about you, asks you to participate in the vetting process, will you do that?
I think anybody that gets a call from the nominee and says you can help our party, you can help our country, of course you'd consider it. But you know, I got the job held by Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry. Chuck, you know your Virginia history. So I think it's the best governorship in America. It's the highest honor I've had in my life.
If they ask for background information
here in Virginia, so
if they ask for background information on this, you'll do it.
That's all speculation. That's completely up to Mitt Romney. I'm not looking forward, campaigning for it, or expecting it. So we'll see what happens. You'll have to ask Governor Romney what he's planning to do.
Fair enough. Governor Bob McDonnell, Republican from Virginia, chairman of the RGA. Always a pleasure to have you on, sir. Thank you.